Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. This is episode 46, and my guest for tonight is the amazing Raya. How are you, Raya? It's so good to see you tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show again. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing awesome. I'm just always excited to do the late night Q&A. This is my one of my favorite streams to do, just to be able to hang out and talk a little bit. And one of the main reasons why I invited you on late night Q&A to talk, aside from the fact that I think you're awesome and I love chatting with you, is your show that you do, your live stream that you do, which is the Glimmer Cast. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's heating up. You've done how many episodes now? What are you on, episode like what, 13, 14,
Oh
14 now?
yeah, it's climbing up there. I think it's like episode 17 that we did.
17. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
we had uh newcomer to the channel, Joe from Real Shift on YouTube. Join us with our friends Devin from Yield Nerdcast and Max from Movies, Madness, and Entertainment. And we reviewed the 1995 movie Batman Forever last night. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get a chance to see the one that you just did where you talked about Batman Forever. But and you know what? And I did, and I was like, oh my god, I'm I was so jealous when you did the Godfather 3 one. I was like, oh man, Godfather 3, that would have been awesome to talk to you about that. But
Oh yeah, that one was a good one. I
but
enjoyed
that
that a lot.
that was a lot of fun. But like, what is your inspiration for the Glimmer Cast? Because you look like you found your grounding of where you're gonna take your channel and stuff. Because you do your video gaming and all that, which is awesome. But then, like, the Glimmer Cast seems to be your main thing. So, like, where did that come from, and what inspired you on that?
Yeah, so it started. Well, the first episode I did was with Potion Sword Run, Original Seed, who was on the Godfather stream a couple days ago, and we also had Mad Max and Ken Tantino from Retro Complex. They were like my first Glimmercast panel, and that was when I was like still trying to figure out exactly like what theme I wanted to do for a podcast or any type of like structured topic panel. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be video game centric or if it would be fluctuating topics. So I just decided to just go with the flow. And the Glimmercast was the name that I just came up with on the fly while I was designing the thumbnail, and it stuck. It so yeah, that's about it.
It seems like the fluctuating topics is the best direction that you could have taken it, because you've talked about so many different things on the Glimmercast, and you bring out and I love the fact that you always seem to pick the best people for the streams that you wanna have. So like it's like you already know in your mind who would be the best person for this or for that or whatever, or what would suit the people, and it all seems to flow so well and so flawlessly. How are you enjoying it so far? I mean, is it something that you love, or is it growing on you? How do you feel about it? Because I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I guess I'm still like trying to find my footing in like public speaking. One of the personal incentives for getting more engaged with content creation on my own platform is to improve my public speaking. Yeah, I have a lot of like really bad habits with how I draw out sentences and how I structure sentences as well. And I get overwhelmed and flustered a lot. So that's kind of the main reason why I wanted to kind of put myself out there to do more content on my own and moderate and construct panels. So yeah, it's a personal challenge for myself. On top of the growing list of personal challenges that I need to, commit to. But yeah, this was the one that I felt the most compelled to act on, like this year.
Now, the what would you say would be the perfect the most perfect episode of the Glimmer Cast for you? If you could have an episode of the Glimmer Cast and it could go any way you've ever wanted it to go and everything to your specifications, what would that episode be?
Oh, that's a hard question. So like what I would like for it to get to a point to be is where I'm speaking seamlessly with all of the guests. All the guests are at ease and like familiar with one another, and it's very casual. In fact, like a one of the inspirations for the format that I want to achieve down the road would be Dave Pena's vodka stream format, where it's just very conversational, just friends hanging out, talking about recent topics in movies and film, as well as like other topics too. And it's a ever changing panel of guests as well that people can just come in and out of. And yeah, I kind of want to get to that point for me because I feel I rely so much on a structured panel and to kind of cure and to guide everyone into specific topics and keep a certain schedule to aligned to like keep everyone like within like the time frames that they agree to be on the show. I haven't gotten to that point where it can feel like a natural conversation. Like case in point, uh, the Batman Forever stream, like that one was a lot of fun, but I found myself, falling back into my, guided, structured. Okay, yeah, we already finished this topic in the movie. Now we need to jump to the next one and the next one, and this person needs to hop off at a certain time. So I find myself like being moderating, hosting, and being like trying, and then being cordial and actually like human and having like an actual like conversation like as a distant third and fourth. So that's kind of where I want to get to at a point where yeah, like very conversational, relaxed. I'm not as stressed about like time frames and staying on topic, and people are just happy to be there, and I'm not like stressed about oh, this person is like not talking enough, or this person needs to get off at a certain time, so I need to find a way to segue their exits gracefully, or some stuff like that. All those things are still like very much at the forefront of my mind whenever I'm hosting a show.
Wow. So you're thinking about all of these things and trying to run the Glimmer Cast. If that's if those are all if all those things are going through your mind, I don't know how you do it, because if I was thinking about it, if I was thinking about it that much, like the way you are, I would be going nuts. So I give you a lot of credit for working through it if you're thinking about it in that way, because wow, I mean that's a lot, because you how can you host? It's like, oh my god. So are you like that generally, where you're always thinking about like a bunch of different things while you're doing other things? Your mind is always a million different places. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I hate watching my my playbacks of my streams because I catch on to like all my moments of
I'm
like
I'm the same
discomfort
way.
or
I'm
weird
the same
weird
way.
expressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just really cringe for me because I'm so critical of myself and things I could do better like all the time. So yeah, like whenever I'm on a stream, I try to catch myself like keeping myself from rambling, but then when I notice I just rambled, like I'm thinking back to when I just rambled a few seconds ago telling you about how much anxiety I have about curating a show, and I'm like, oh, he didn't ask all that detail, and but I
No,
still like felt compelled
thank
to
you
share
for
it.
sharing that with me, because when you telling me this makes me feel like I know what I'm doing, and I don't think I know what I'm doing either. And I've been doing this for a while, and I'm just trying to, because my whole thing is I just want to interview people and get to know people. And my whole goal when I do things like this, like late night Q&A, is to get to know someone and to make them feel so comfortable, so that later on when I ask them to come back or to collaborate on something else, there's no hesitation. People will be like, oh yeah, well, you were nice, you treated me kindly when I was on your show the last time, and it was great. So I'm always willing to come back. And one of the things that I love about what you're doing with the Glimmer Cast is that you've been bringing in a lot of new people, but then you also bring in people, familiar people, people that you're comfortable with, people that you like. And I'm very honored because you always ask me to come on. I've been on quite a few times and I really enjoy when I get a chance to be on there. And it's nice because it exposes me to people that I don't know that so it's like you're creating, you're doing what you want to do actually, which what you brought up the vodka stream as an example of how you would like your streams to eventually be. And I want to tell you, you're kind of building towards that because you're creating these groups of people for certain types of streams. Like I'll give you an example, like the current Lord of the Rings stream that you've been doing. We've talked about Lord of the Rings quite a bit lately, and you're kind of bringing together a certain group of people to talk and to comment on this, and then every once in a while you're adding somebody else. It honestly feels like almost like the Fellowship of the Rings, like you're adding to the group and you're building towards something, and you always have a main goal that you're trying to get to. And I just think that the way you have it structured is really awesome. But I feel bad if that's how you're thinking about it while you're doing it though. Like if your mind is going in all those different directions, it's got to be tough. I mean, wow.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Thought. Yeah, I was thinking like that, because the Glimmercast is so like, at least how I construct it now, like it varies as far as what topics to cover. So I was debating whether or not to kind of segue the Lord of the Rings stuff, for example, to be like the Fellowship of the Streams or something like that. But I'm like, oh, that's too many
Yes,
brands.
yes.
Like, I'm already
No,
have
that's
I. It
awesome.
doesn't work. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's okay. It's a cool name. Like, I'm like stoked on it. It's just that I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, I got the Glimmercast going, and then I have my random video game streams that I do when like I don't have a panel. And the Lord of the Fellowship of the Streams thing is basically whenever there's something to talk about. I might like circle back to that idea when there's like more steady news of of the Rings of Power coming out. But in the meantime, it's very sporadic because of the lack of because of how close knit or how closed off the show's production has been. Like it's been very hush hush. So yeah, like bleh. Long story short, yeah, like naming specific topics under a different type of name, not having it just like all under the Glimmercast might be something I want to do. But yeah, I'm still kind of mulling it over.
The Glimmercast being your main stream though is amazing. I love it. I think it suits you. I think it's very uh I don't know about anybody else, but I know, like I said, I feel special every time I come on. I always think that it's great because I feel like you handpick everybody specifically for certain reasons and certain things, and it's almost like this person is going to get along well with this person is going to like this person, and even if this person doesn't like that person will eventually start to like this person because they'll see what they have in common when we're talking about this, that, or the other. And I don't know, I just think you've pulled it off marvelously so far. And you know, particularly I know I'm talking a lot about the Lord of the Rings ones because I've been a part of those streams. But the reason, I find it amazing to talk about that is because we've all been so positive in talking about Lord of the Rings, in spite of the lack of information that's available because of the closed set and stuff. And I feel like we're one of the few streams that talk about it in a positive light and focus on it for what we want to see as fans of this material, more so than focusing on the types of superficial things that it seems like seems to bother people, and right now. I mean, and I know you know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah, definitely. Not to like kind of like sidestep that topic because I do acknowledge, what you're saying. Like when folks make critiques about actors of different races and genders
Right.
portraying fictional
Right.
characters.
I was just trying not to get too specific. That's why I was like, that's why I kind of rambled a little because I was trying not to go
Yeah,
go
no,
full
I tried
on.
to avoid talking about that topic too, because like that's a non-issue for me. I actually want to talk about what the story is for those characters.
Right.
So yeah, it's not me like being dismissive of other people's concerns. I'm happy to have like folks who are critical of the series like come on. Like I haven't really met anyone yet because like to your point, no one really talks about Lord of the Rings but us. And then the folks who do talk about it are generally like positive about it, at least the folks that like I interact with regularly. So like if it does come to a point where there is someone with some hot takes that they actually want to like bring to the show, like I'm happy to hear them out and hear what they have to say, but I just haven't ran into that yet personally.
Okay. So since you've done about 17 episodes of the Glimmer Cast, do you have an episode that you've done so far that stands out to you more than any of the other episodes that you've done so far?
Let me think. Oh, the dating horror stories one was really good. It opened the door for me to be streaming more with Ashley the Widow, which I'm immensely grateful for. Ashley's a
Yes,
wonderful person,
she is.
friend of the show, friend of both of our shows, actually.
Yes, very
So
much.
so that kind of like I was always like cool with her, and I would say hi to her and in the chat and all this other stuff, but I haven't really gotten to stream that much with her. So now I'm like helping her out on her show with KDots every week, which has been great. And we're planning another stream together in the future. So yeah, the all women stream was definitely something that I really liked, because one of the things that I am hoping to do in the future is to have more folks with like shared, identifying traits, whether it be like gender or race or sexuality, and have us all on the panel and like actually talk about it and like actually highlight, where we're not, all in alignment on the same topic. Like us all being like women of color on a panel, like we all had completely different dating experiences and points of view on um, on life and things like that, which is great. So like things like that I really want to highlight on the show in the future. Like just folks like I said, with similar like identifying traits, like actually having a discussion where it's not all like in agreement. There's actually like some dialogue about uh, some of the disagreements or things that we're not all in alignment on. So yeah.
Well, the more real world stuff that you talk about, you're gonna find that a lot of people have differing viewpoints and are going to vehemently disagree with each other and probably start shouting at one another. It's kind of, I've found that in my experience, I've found that the main topic to avoid on YouTube is politics. Never get into politics on YouTube. And so that's the one thing that I've always kind of looked at and said, well, now I'm not a political guy anyway, so that won't be a problem for me. But I know a lot of people that have gotten into political debates and arguments on YouTube and ended up losing friends over it. And I've always said that if you can't have a friend that you disagree with, then that person isn't really your friend, because you have, just because you're a friend of someone doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say, doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that they do. Part of being a friend is knowing that I can have a disagreement with you and still be your friend after it's all said and done.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's kind of one of the things that I continue to kind of mull over in my brain is like if I were to like directly intentionally have a panel and we talk about a social issue and we're all like like all people of color or all black folks or all women or whatever, like, and talk about like a single issue, like part of me feels like some sort of like personal responsibility for like anything like negative that happens because of that, because I've made that interaction happen or it occurred under my watch. So like if folks like feel like dogpiled on, or if folks feel like attacked for, you know, not having a similar uh, uh, point of view to other folks on the panel, or things like that, like I will feel personal responsibility for it, and I would feel really awful like if someone felt like, you know, attacked on my channel. So that's kind of been one of the things I've been mulling over, like as much as I would like to talk about, um, different, like, you know, social issues or things like that. I'm not sure if I'm ready to manage any type of, you know, disagreement, or how to like curate the conversation to be completely like, um, open and receptive to everyone who has different opinions. Like if something were to, like, you know, blow up, like how would I manage that? So that gives me anxiety whenever I think about it.
Oh no. So are you well, I will say this. I've come to the conclusion that uh, anybody that comes on your stream and creates a problem or causes an issue is going to get a lot of backlash. So you probably wouldn't have to do much. I think you have a lot of people that are modding and watching over your channel. I don't think you would have to worry too much if things got out of hand. I actually don't think that it would ever get out of hand, because you're very respectful to everyone. And usually, when you get everybody together, they're respectful. So I kind of feel like as long as you're respectful and others are respectful, there should never be that problem. So that's one thing, that I would hope you wouldn't have on your mind as far as anxiety goes, because I know you're thinking about a lot of other things too. So, um, are you saying, are you a Democrat or a Republican, Zod? I am apolitical. I am not a Democrat or a Republican. When I consider politics, I look at politics as being completely ridiculous, and I try to look at it from the perspective of what's going to be better, what's going to be like the greater, what's going to be good for overall, what's going to be for the greater good, not so much what I may be thinking or what I may believe. But I don't consider myself to be political at all. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate politics. I really do, to tell you the truth. um I just, yeah. What was I going to say next? I totally lost my train of thought now, Rhea. Okay. I was gonna ask you now too, the other streams that you do, aside from the Glimmercast, you do a lot of your Pokemon, where you are doing your video, and those are like chilling chats most of the time.
Yeah,
Are you,
yeah, I haven't done one in a while because I tried to do more Glimmercast panels, and coordinate schedules and things like that. And I try to make sure to take a break every other day. So yeah, I haven't done it in a minute, but I do enjoy those. Those got me, like, you know, started on my channel doing the game streams, figuring out my stream layout, just getting like a semi-regular, you know, group of folks who tune in to watch or just to hang out. So yeah, it's been that's been really cool. I would love to like do more of my game streams. It's just that like I really am excited about like having more guests on the show. I feel like it's a little bit more engaging than the game streams. I would like to bring those back, maybe like in the future. But yeah, for now, like I'm kind of like juggling, you know, like the Glimmercast schedulings and topics and stuff like that, because those are like, you know, really engaging, like I said.
now are you more comfortable when you do your Pokemon streams? Because it seems like you're in a calming place. Is your mind calm when you're doing those streams, or are you thinking about 10 million things? Because I wonder about that based on all the things that you've said about the Glimmercast.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking a little bit less about like other people's experiences, and I am able to enjoy the game a little bit. I do try to interact with the chat as much as I can while I'm on stream. So I think that's kind of like one thing that I try to prioritize. Like, so they're a little bit less stressful, but because I still try to interact with the chat as much as I can, I can't 100% focus on the game.
Okay, and I got a 4.99 super chat here from Belle Reeve. Thank you, Belle. Much appreciated. Belle says, Zod, you are awesome. So is Bea. You two keep up the good work. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. You know it. Thank you very much, Belle. Really appreciate that. Belle is another really, really great person. And I'm so happy, that you had that stream that you did, the all ladies stream. I thought that dating horror stories stream was fantastic. And I especially loved seeing you and Belle as the Furies on Sil Abdul's channel recently. And of course, I miss doing the Trinity with you and Sil. That was always fun too. Um, when you do other streams, when you go on other streams, is your mind calmer when you're on a stream that's not something that you're running, because you're not thinking about so many different things, like with the all the things you mentioned about the Glimmer Cast? Is it easier for you to go on other streams?
Um, it's funny because like any like anxiety I had for managing my own streams, somehow it's like replaced with a new anxiety on someone else's platform.
Oh
Like
no.
so whether it be like uh, feeling like I need to respond to the chat and engage with everyone and greet everyone, or uh, I'm more self conscious about my speaking because I'm on someone else's channel, and I'm like in my mind I'm making sure to respond, but I'm not sure if I'm like responding to the question that was directly asked to me. And yeah, no, I'm just a very anxious person, so yeah.
Well, you do such a wonderful job, and everything that you do, you are, at least in my view, very natural and very fun and very open, and you always seem to just there's like an aura of positivity around you that I don't I don't experience anywhere else. It's like when I go when I come on your streams, I'm amazed. It's like I feel like I'm surrounded by positivity. And even if I have a negative thought, it it dissipates so quickly because it's so positive and welcoming and fun. You have a very welcoming demeanor, and you're always so fair and open with everybody. And it's like even when you have people in your chats that may be acting up or not be and not, are not acting right, there's a particular person I'm speaking about, and you give a lot of chances before you finally boot a person out. Um, how do you how do you take the chats? Because when you mentioned the anxiety, what is the biggest issue that you feel that you face as a content creator when dealing with your chats?
Yeah, I definitely rely on the mods in my chat a lot. So thank you to those folks who show up to my streams and then help me moderate. They're awesome. Um, yeah, like I said, I kind of get hung up on smaller details that may not be like surfaced to anyone else other than me, because I want the viewing experience and the experience of my guests to be positive. So I'm worried about that constantly. And when I feel like I'm being derailed by someone in the chat or someone on the panel, it sort of messes up my ability to focus on the rest of the show, and it sort of changes my body language and my tone and my demeanor overall. And it's very visually like I'm bothered, I'm pressed about it or whatever. So it's hard to uh, for me to mask that and keep it cool when that does happen. So that has been challenging for me.
What was the main thing that made you want to become a content creator?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't think that I have very good public speaking skills, so I wanted to improve those. and I wanted to have a platform where I could chat with people that I really like, that I've met around the community. So yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Uh, what movie this year are you most excited to see that hasn't come out yet?
Well, apparently Black Panther is still slated for 2022. I have a feeling they'll push it, but if it does come out this year, that's my most anticipated for sure. How about you?
That's amazing. Cool. I hadn't even thought about it because I didn't know for sure when it was coming out either. I was for me, I'm looking forward to Black Adam the most this year. I really think that's going to be an amazing movie. It's hard to. There's so many interesting interesting things about the movie, and it was in development for so long that it's got to be good. I won't accept it being bad. I actually feel like this is one of those movies that I'm going to go into the movie theater with a completely positive mindset, almost like I'm going to have like superhero goggles on when I go into the theater, and I'm going to walk out, and I'm not going to, if it's a bad movie, I'm not going to accept it, and just still think it's great. Like I feel like this is a movie I'm ultimately going to end up like almost shilling for, because I won't be able to accept if it's a bad movie. I think it's going to be awesome. So that's the one I'm most looking forward to. And we do have, I was going to ask you about TV and streaming, but we've got Lord of the Rings hitting in September. So is that what you're most looking forward to TV wise, or do you have something else that is?
Yeah, I would say that one is, and then I guess like sooner in the more immediate future, like maybe Moon Knight.
Oh,
That's one series that looks really really cool, and yeah, I am excited for that for sure.
I was really excited when they announced that they're going to be doing more Daredevil. I really like that show on Netflix, and to actually be bringing back, Daredevil from the Netflix shows to return on Disney Plus, I think is a good thing. Are you do you watch a lot of the Disney shows?
I don't. I'm actually one of the worst people to ask about uh, comic book movie connectivity and stuff like that. I'm very much a surface level fan. I try my best to participate in those discussions, but a lot of times I fall back to just like, the general knowledge and just like my own speculation. So, yeah.
And we have yeah, the chat is really blowing up tonight. We got so many people in here. I appreciate everybody being here. This is awesome. uh yeah, Rhea, very sweet, takes a lot to piss her off. Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. Like, I love the way she handles her chat. Like, she gives everybody a chance to um change their behavior before finally booting the person or removing the person, which is good. So what's coming up for the Glimmer Cast, Rhea? Do you have How far in advance are you set up for?
Yeah, I usually plan like, 1 to 2 weeks ahead of when shows go out. Like I'm becoming more ambitious with, the amount of guests and the type of guests that I reach out to, because I am interested in having targeted topic discussions, like I mentioned earlier. I just kind of want to go about it in a responsible way where folks on the panel feel comfortable um, to say how they really feel about the topic. So, scheduling and diversity of guests and me taking breaks from content creation is like all three of those gears are sort of like constantly tumbling. So to answer your question though, the next show I'm planning is for tomorrow. I'll be doing the Batman spoiler discussion stream with Dean TV. I just recently got to know him from the Amico community, and he's actually
Awesome.
a really cool dude. And he's into retro games and into DC as well. So I'm really excited. It'll be my first time talking with him at length on a panel. Um, I have gotten a chance to be on a panel with him before, but I didn't get to speak too much with him. But yeah, he is going to be reviewing or discussing the Batman with me tomorrow. Then next streams I have planned include a Catwoman stream or Catwoman discussion stream where I'll be featuring Wonder Meg, Belle Reeve, Ashley the Widow, and Saggy Millens. So all five of us
Wow.
will
Now
be on the
that
show.
is an amazing, that's going to be an
That's a very
amazing panel.
ambitious, that crossover event
I
right
can't
there.
wait. That's going to be wonderful. Wow. See, now that's something to really, really look forward to. And this is the comment here of the night so far. Rhea is the type of person that gives me hope for the world. That is the highlighted comment. I love that comment. Beautiful comment. So true. So
Thank you,
true.
Necron.
And Belle Reeve wants to know, where do you guys see yourself in 2 years on YouTube? Question for both of you.
Yeah, I what I would hope is that I have better speaking skills, better like able to roll with a dialogue more comfortably on a panel. Yeah, no, I keep coming back to like that's my main goal. Like I have a lot of like uh challenges going on up here that keep me from being 100% comfortable and at ease in myself on in life and on YouTube. So ultimately, like my goal is to be at a place where I feel more in control of my screen presence and the experience of the guests on the panel, and everyone is relaxed. So yeah, that's kind of going to be my what I would hope to have in like a couple years, just like an ongoing growing group of like friends and panel guests who are able to hop in and out of the stream, and we can just have a conversation, like kind of flowing, ongoing, and it doesn't have to rely so much on structure and scheduling so much as it does right now, or at least how I personally conduct it.
Wow. Well, you've got a plan. I don't know. Like 2 years, I'm hoping. My goals for 2 years are to make uh, late night Q&A with ZodWriter to be one of the biggest streams on YouTube. Like in 2 years from now, I want it to be uh, almost like a television talk show. That's kind of like how I'm trying to model this. I'm trying to gear it towards a talk show, and because that's always been something I've wanted to do, like host a talk show. So that's what I'm pushing for, especially because I come from internet radio and I used to do uh, a radio show that was essentially a lot like a late night talk show. So that's kind of where I'm gearing my goal. Um, Bat Dan says, I got to go. Great show. Thank you for being here, Bat Dan. These late night Q&A shows are relatively short. I don't like talk shows. I don't like to keep the guest on the line for too long. And so I'm always just happy whenever I ask someone and someone says yes and they agree to come on. So Rhea, I do want to thank you so much for coming uh, tonight. It's always a pleasure to see you. It's always a pleasure to stream with you. You are absolutely awesome, and I think that in 2 years, the Glimmer Cast is probably going to be like one of the biggest streams ever on YouTube.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. That's like, yeah, that's really daunting to think about. I'm just like, I'm just enjoying that folks actually, want to, come on the show. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. It is wonderful. I love it. Every single time I get asked to come on, I get excited like a little kid. Jesse Allen says, Zod, I was waiting for your exclusive Batman clip to show up in the Batman, and it didn't. Well, Jesse, my exclusive Batman clip didn't show up because it was a deleted scene. You see, I was told by Warner Brothers that that scene wouldn't be featured in the film, and that it was exclusive for the ZodWriter show. So that's the reason why. Yeah, Matt Reeves did cut that out. Saggy Melons is in the chat. Rhea, what's up,
Saggy.
Saggy? So I'm really looking forward to that stream with all of you wonderful ladies. That's going to be fantastic. Do you have a date set for that one already?
It's tentatively set for Friday. So I'm also someone who checks in like numerous times throughout the week to make sure everyone is still good to go. So yeah, right now we have all said that Friday around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if not later. But I often announce it the day of anyway. But that's just to give you a heads up of like that really awesome stream that we have planned next week.
Yeah, you always get people give people enough notice ahead of time. It's great, and it's like, and that's probably why you're always able to get everybody, because you're so good at planning it out with the time. Um, let's see, we've got move over Rhett and Link. Here comes Rhea and Saggy. Okay, catching that stream only to support Saggy Melons. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you for announcing that here on this show. That's something I think everybody is going to be looking forward to. And so I don't want to like hold you up and keep you keep you locked down for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight for late night Q&A. Thank you, Rhea, for being here. This was fantastic.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me again, Zod. And yeah, for folks who are interested, we are going to have an impromptu Lord of the Rings discussion later on this evening. So yeah, I will be chatting with folks about that and setting the scheduling the stream and setting up the thumbnail, all that fun stuff. So if you're interested, we'll be covering the Fellowship of the Ring, the extended edition, of course, the definitive edition. So yeah, can't wait to have that conversation.
Okay. Well, with that, everybody, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Rhea, again for coming. And make sure you come back here to my YouTube channel tomorrow night, where I will be, where Ashley the Widow and myself will be breaking down Thor Ragnarok. That's the movie that we have scheduled to break down tomorrow, but we might be breaking down the Batman since that's all everybody's talking about right now. So I was just going to ask you if you had anything coming up that you wanted to plug before we ended the stream, but you already did that. So I'm going to go ahead and say good night, everybody. Thank you.
And everyone, take care.